Hello friends, welcome to Software Engineering channel. Hope you guys are doing good. Today we are going to discuss about the concept of event callback in Blazor. You can implement this concept in Blazor WebAssembly. You can implement this concept in Blazor server as well, and the method of implementing this concept is same in both platforms. So I'm going to implement it in Blazor server because I like Blazor server for working, but you can implement it anywhere you like. Well, students found it very difficult to understand and implement, but I don't think so it is a difficult concept. If you know what kind of problem is solving this concept, you can easily understand it and implement it. Okay, so well, let's assume a scenario. I will explain a scenario in front of you, and then I will tell you how we can and when we can use the concept of event callback into that scenario. Let's say we have a page and the name of the page is, let's say, XYZ, and then we have a component, a Blazor component, and the name of the component is ABC. The component ABC contains a button. Okay, so whenever we click on that button, it trigger a function, let's say a method, a private method. There is a private method as well into that component, and whenever we click on the button, it trigger that private method and perform some kind of functions. This is how normally a Blazor component works when we call it into the page. But now our requirement has been changed. Now in the component I have a button, but I don't have a private method which I want to trigger on the pressing of that button. So where is the method now? The method is into the calling page now. The page which is calling the event, that will provide the method, that will provide the function which our button will trigger upon pressing. So first of all, I will implement a simple component which will have a button, which will have a private function, and the button will be triggering that function, and then I will move that complete function into the calling page, and then I will use the concept of event callback, and through event callback I will trigger that function upon the pressing of the button. So let's start. Okay, so let's start. First of all, as I said, we have a button, we have a page XYZ, so I will be using the home page. I will do this all things with home page. So first of all, I need a component ABC. So to create the component ABC, I will create a folder with the name feature into the component folder, and I will create a razor component into the feature folder, and I will name it as ABC component. Okay, so now I will simply make this component first of all interactive server. Okay, and then after this I will keep the name here, and after that I will create a button here. Let's implement a bootstrap class, btn primary, and the name of the button is button1. Okay, so now I will create a private int number here, and then actually I'm creating a very simple program. So instead of putting your focus into understanding that program, you will be focusing on actually event callback. We already have this functionality by default in our counter page, and I am replicating that functionality into the component. So here I will create private void, okay, increment counter, and this is the private function, and it will be increasing the value of number variable whenever we will press the button, and I will call this increment counter on the button 1. like this increment counter, and this is it, and this is the normal behavior. This is the normal way we create the component, and then we create any button in it, and then we call some private function upon on click of that button. And now let me call this function into the page. Which page? Home page. So not function, actually abc component. abc component, here it is. Okay, here it is. So we don't need to write the complete path here, we can add it by alt enter and using like this. Okay, so let me run the application, and then I will show you how things are working, and then we will discuss it further and implement the concept of event callback. Okay, so application is running now, and here we have the abc component. This title is coming from the abc component, and this button is also coming from the abc component. And if I click on it, okay, it will be increasing the values, but we don't have we haven't created any kind of HTML tag to show the value of numbers. So the value is, I'm creating this to show the value, increasing value. The value is and add number, and now here it will show the value is 1, and then when we'll press again, it will show the value is 2 and value is 3 and so on. So let's start again. Okay, the app is running again, and when I press on the button, you can see on every press it show the value is 6, the value is 7, the value is 8 and so on. Now everything is working fine, but now what I am going to do is I want to cut this code from here. I want it here just after the component into the page, and I want to create the code section here, and I want to place all these code the here. Okay, so I want to place all this code here. Now what I want to do is I want to trigger this increment counter function upon the pressing of this button. So how I can do this? This is where the concept of event callback come and help you. So first of all, I will create the property, and its type will be event callback, and the name of the property will be my event, and I will be taking it decorating it with the parameter. And you don't need to write it here. What you will write it here, the name of this property, write it here like this. Okay, now from here what we are going to do, in my event property we will pass the increment counter function. Okay, and now well, instead of writing interactive server here, we should write it in to the parent now like this. Okay, so let's see if it works or not. Okay, so the app is running now, and on pressing the button it is exactly working the way we want it to work, and this time it is working through the concept of event callback. Okay, so it is working through the concept of event callback, and the function getting triggered upon pressing this button is not into the component, but it is into the page which is calling that component, and we are triggering that function through the concept of event callback. We can also implement it in another way. First let me come into the component, and here I will create a function, private void event invoker. You can name it whatever you want, and event invoker, and in the event invoker I can call this my event, and then I can invoke it from here, and after that I can call this function in the on click, and if I will run the app again, it will work the same way it was working before. So why we are choosing this method, and when we should choose this method? So first let me check, or let me show you the functionality of the app, and then I will tell you. Okay, look at this, it is working totally fine. So instead of calling the event callback property directly into the on click event, this time I am calling the event invoker function into the on click, and the event invoker function is invoking the my event property. So when we should use this approach instead of the simple approach? So you should use this approach when you want to pass parameters as well. So how we can pass the parameters? This is one more interesting thing, and again this is very simple concept. You don't need to get confused on it. Like, by what I mean by passing parameters, by passing parameters I means I want to pass a value to this number variable upon pressing this function. So how I can do this? So first of all, here I will receive a value int, let's say int value 1, and then here, from here I will pass the value like 1. So if you are passing the value in on click, this is how you call the function. So whenever we will press the button 1, it will pass the value 1 into this value 1 variable. So we want to pass this value all the way from here to here in this variable. So to achieve this, first of all, event callback, we will make it able to handle the integer value. So right here, integer. Now our my event property is able to deal with the integer value. We will get this one here, and we will pass this value here. Okay, so when we'll pass this value here, again we will receive this value here, and after this we can write it like this. So what will happen? Let me run it and show it to you practically. Now while I will press on this button, it will increase, not increase, it will assign the value 1 to the number variable. After that, no matter how much time I click on it, it will keep reassigning the value 1 to it. If I want to pass any other value, like if I want to pass some string value from here, I can change the whole data types into this here, here, and here as well. So here as well, and here as well. So I can receive the string value as well. If I want to pass an other value like 502, simple value. So now if I will press on the button, now on the button 1, it will pass the 502 all the way to the page, and the number variable which is here on the page will show you the value 502. So let me show you this again. Okay, look here. First of all, it was loading, so it did not work properly. Now look at this. So this is how you can pass the parameters as well. So event callback is not a difficult thing to understand. Event callback is very simple and easy to understand kind of concept, but all you need to understand first the scenario in which it works, the scenario where it is required, and the scenario where you use event callback is when you want to trigger the function from the calling page and upon the pressing of the component buttons. That's it. If the button is coming from the component and you want to trigger the function that is on the calling page, so you should use the event callback concept. Otherwise you can implement a simple Blazor component which will have a button and its own function to get triggered upon clicking on the button as well. So that's it today. Hope you like the video. If you like the video, please subscribe my channel and support me. Thank you so much.